Hi guys, всем привет! Welcome to my channel AllasYummyFood and to my wonderful kitchen. I'm so excited because you guys love honey cake, so I decided to try another variation, honey cake with caramel. So it's kind of going to be using sort of salted caramel buttercream, and these soft honey dough layers are just amazing. This cake is so good. You're gonna love it, you're gonna try it, and you're gonna thank me later because you've tried it. So I'm very excited about this recipe. I really hope you try it, and I can't wait to hear from you. Now let's get baking. In a bowl, add your unsalted butter. Make sure it's nice and soft. And then you're going to whisk this for a few minutes until the butter becomes nice and creamy. So about 5 minutes or so. You can see that it changes the color and it should be quite pale and white. At this stage, you're going to add your caramel. You can use a shop-bought caramel or a store-bought caramel or make your own caramel. It's completely up to you. Just keep adding 1 tablespoon at a time and mixing it together with the butter. You want to do this in stages so your cream doesn't split. Once you've finished with all your caramel, the mixture will kind of go lighter in color, and it tastes so good already, guys. I can just eat it with a spoon. Now we're gonna make our honey dough. In a large pan, add your unsalted butter and melt it until it's quite liquid. Then add sugar and mix everything together until it is incorporated. I'm using very low heat to make sure everything is mixed through and the butter and sugar mixture is not too hot. Then we're going to add baking soda, mix that in, and then we're going to add our eggs. And you want to whisk at this stage really quickly and lower the heat completely. Just keep whisking and whisking. You will start to see the mixture is bubbling. Then add your honey and then start to whisk again. This whole process will take 5 to 8 minutes. You need to stay by the pan and just keep whisking to make sure the mixture doesn't burn. You will see that the color starts to change and it's going to become quite golden and nice, just like that. So on a very low heat, just keep whisking your mixture up and down. Now the color, I'm happy with that, that's done. We're just gonna now add our flour. I'm adding half of the flour at a time and then mixing it together just to make sure we don't have any lumps. Then add more flour and mix everything together. It's always better to add a bit less flour than more flour, just in case. We don't want very dry sponge, otherwise it's not going to be able to roll out. So just keep adding flour until you feel that the mixture is sticky but not sticking kind of to your hands and the spatula. I'm adding a bit more flour and I'm going to knead my dough on my surface after this, just because it becomes a lot easier to do it on the You can find my full recipe at AllasYummyFood.com and go check it out. I've got loads of delicious recipes on there. So add more flour onto your surface. The dough is still very sticky. Transfer your dough. It's very hot, so be very careful. Make sure you add more flour on top and all over your hands. And just knead the dough a little bit to make sure it's nice and smooth and all kind of coming together. Don't want to lose any bits. And then we're going to stretch the dough into kind of a long sausage. So just keep stretching it out. And then we're going to cut it into equal sizes. I've managed to get actually 10 layers out of this dough. And the cake was not huge, but it was a good size. So if you're making a larger cake, you might want to double the ingredients. Then just roll the dough into a little ball and place it onto your surface. Make sure you cover the dough with damp towel while you roll each piece, just so it doesn't dry out. Now for the baking stage, just add flour on some parchment paper and just gently roll out your piece of dough. It's very, very thin, so you have to go very slow, and you just need to make sure you get all the edges. Just keep rolling it to a desired shape of your cake. So it depends what shape you want to do. You can do squares, you can do rounds. So I'm just rolling it all out, and then I'm going to measure with my cake tin. Then gently cut around the circle. And if you're missing any pieces, just kind of put them back on there and roll it over, and you're going to get a nice circle. Like I said, the dough is very, very thin, so it's okay if it's not too perfect. And we're going to keep all the scraps as well. So we're going to bake this for about 2 to 3 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius or 400 Fahrenheit. That just depends on your oven how long. When it's done, you can just leave them to cool down for a couple of minutes, and then just flip it over and take off the parchment paper really slowly. And then leave the dough to cool down. Once you've done all your layers, we're gonna keep the scraps. Add all your extra bits from the cake inside, and then we're going to blitz this on a high speed until you get nice crumb consistency. It's gonna look just like this. Now my beautiful layers are done. Look at these, so nice and ready to go. Time to assemble your cake. Put a little bit of your cream onto your plate. Place your first layer of honey sponge, and then add 1 large tablespoon of your caramel mixture. And you just want to spread it evenly around all the sides and edges. You're going to repeat the process with all the layers. Just keep adding them and using the cream around the edges, inside and in the middle. You do want to make sure you've got a same amount of cream going in between layers, so then the cake looks absolutely fantastic when you cut inside. Lastly, with your final layer, you want to go around the edges and on top of the cake and make sure it's all nice and moist. This cake is not as soft as with sour cream filling or any other fillings that I have made, but it's so delicious, guys. So then you want to sprinkle your crumbs around and on the side of the cake, and I've decided to decorate it with some salted caramel on top, because it is a salted caramel honey cake, so we can never have too much caramel. And the cake goes into the fridge for at least 6 to 8 hours, or best overnight. I do recommend leaving the cake in a room temperature for about 1 hour or so before slicing it. That way it's going to be a bit softer and very, very nice and creamy. Decorate it the way you like it, and there you go, guys. Look at that beautiful layers, and it's so moist, so delicious, very, very creamy, and you really have that honey and salted caramel flavor. I absolutely love this one, guys. I hope you try it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give me a big thumbs up. Thank you.